Hey everyone, my name is Zaire, and join with me today is
Ricky.
And we are Hidden Item, and today is our final episode of our series, Kingdom Hearts Retold, Part 4, Shadows Through Time. Whoa.
Woo!
That's awesome. Ricky came up with that super awesome title, and you guys are in for a treat. Guys, if you have any questions at all, make sure you watch all of our videos. This is number 4, so it's 1, 2, 3. What comes after 3? 4.
This one. Yes, and this time we actually talk about the more confusing parts of the Kingdom Hearts story. So pay attention. You got this.
Let's do this.
With Ansem Seeker of Darkness and Xemnas both destroyed, it may seem like Sora had ridden the world of Master Xehanort's threat, but you'd be mistaken. In fact, their problems are about to get a whole lot worse.
Let me guess.
But first, I need to tell you a story that doesn't involve Sora, even though
Zaire really only wants to hear about Sora!
Actually, we are starting with Sora this time.
Wait, really?
Kind of.
Aw, it's not fair.
After Sora and Riku return from the Realm of Darkness after defeating Xemnas, Mickey, Donald, Goofy, and Jiminy Cricket return to Disney Castle.
Everyone always seems to forget that Jiminy Cricket has always been there. Even you hardly even mention him. So why are you bringing him up now?
It's true that Jiminy Cricket was always there, but his role was delegated to keeping a record of everything that happened in his journal. However, the journal of Sora's first adventure was wiped of all of its words. This happened during Sora's ascent of Castle Oblivion. Naminé deleted the entries in the journal as she wiped out Sora's memories. Although when she was repairing Sora's memories, she also left a note inside the journal that read, "The hurting will be mended when you return to end it." Curious about the origin of this entry, King Mickey had Chip and Dale convert the journal to data.
How could they convert the journal to data if it was empty?
While the words in the journal were gone, that didn't necessarily mean that the data was. They just needed a computer to convert it. However, once converted to data, they found that the journal was overrun with bugs.
Ew! Just call an exterminator! Yuck!
Not those kinds of bugs. The kinds of bugs you'd find in computer software. These bugs are getting in the way of accessing the journal's entries, so Chip and Dale used the data version of Sora that already existed within the journal, as well as an artificial keyblade made out of data, to squash these bugs. He did this by finding the keyholes located within the data worlds that are inside the journal. The collection of these data worlds is known as the Datascape. Shortly after asking Datasaur for his help in eliminating the bugs, Mickey, Donald, Goofy, and Jiminy Cricket were pulled into the Datascape. This was because the embodiment of the journal had pulled them in.
Hey, that's Riku!
Not the real Riku though. That's the Data Riku. The journal used the data for Riku as a vessel to store the journal's data. So, in a sense, you could also think of Data Riku as the journal itself. Data Riku had pulled them in because he needed them to help get rid of the bugs. Although they weren't the only ones pulled in. Maleficent had ordered Pete to spy on them and he had gotten sucked in as well. He ended up in the place that connects all of the data worlds. From there, he called in Maleficent and they began to take control over the Datascape. This prevented Mickey and friends from returning home. Eventually, Sora ran into Pete in the data version of Olympus Coliseum. He then followed him to the data version of Agrabah. Outside the Cave of Wonders, Maleficent spoke of her desire to take over the Datascape in order to use the connection between it and Disney Castle. She planned on using this connection to take over their world. Datasaur tried to retaliate, but since his Keyblade was fake, Maleficent swiftly destroyed it. Mickey and Data Riku showed up to save Datasora, but Data Riku was kidnapped in the process. Since Maleficent and Pete were keeping them trapped in the Datascape, Mickey left to take care of them with Sora following after. Donald and Goofy followed Datasora as they were worried about him not being able to use his Keyblade. In the Data version of Hollow Bastion, they encountered Pete, who gave Donald and Goofy a beating. Sora, worried for his friends, used the connections in his heart with the friends he had made in the Datascape to conjure up his own Keyblade. He saved Donald and Goofy, but still had to save Data Riku.
So, in a sense, if I have a strong connection with my friends, I can conjure up my own Keyblade!
No wait, what are you—
I believe! Did it work? Did it work? Alright, come out Keyblade! Alright, go!
Zaire,
get out of here!
Zaire, please stop this.
Go, go!
You're making a mess!
Keyblade, acquit!
Zaire, please, it's a video game. I don't have insurance.
Why isn't it working?
That's because you don't have friends. And you're not gonna have friends if you keep making a mess like that. You can't have a strong connection with things that don't exist.
I just want my own key, please.
Okay, see, I gotta keep moving this forward. We only have so much time to do this, and story time ain't over, alright? So suck it up and let's keep going. Alright, so where were we? Ah, yes. Alright. Sora followed after Pete as he tried to escape, but found that he had injected Data Riku with bugs. Data Sora was forced to fight his best friend, and he won. But Data Riku was still filled with bugs, so Sora dove into him to take out the remaining bugs and came out victorious. Mickey, Donald, and Goofy were able to return to Disney Castle after that, but there was another problem. A bug that had taken the form of Sora's Heartless had emerged and threatened to wipe out all of the data in the journal. It even threatened the lives of both Pete and Maleficent, but Sora was able to save them.
That doesn't make any sense. Why would Sora save Maleficent and Pete if they're both his enemy?
That's just the kind of guy he is. Heroes won't even let the villains die if they don't have to, right? After that, the journal was reset to its original state, which meant that Data Sora's memory would also be reset. Data Riku, whose memory was unaffected, then notified them of a lead on their mystery message. Castle Oblivion had popped up in the journal.
That's weird, because Castle Oblivion wasn't really part of Sora's first adventure.
That's exactly why it was a lead for them to follow. Mickey once again entered the datascape, reintroduced himself to Sora, and they both headed out for Castle Oblivion. There, they met up with Data Naminé. She had explained that the real Naminé was responsible for the message as well as the bugs that had appeared in the journal. They were all placed there as a way for Data Sora to train himself to deal with hurt. This was because the real Naminé had found pained memories of people attached to him. These people being Roxas, Axel, Xion, Naminé, Terra, Ventus, and Aqua. Naminé was worried that dealing with this hurt would break Sora's heart, so she hid it away until Sora was able to prove that he could handle it. She also gave light to the existence of data that Ansem the Wise had hidden inside of Sora while he was regaining his memories.
But, what's in the data?
We still don't know that yet. After Mickey's experience in the datascape, he sent a letter to Sora, Riku, and Kairi. A letter that detailed what he had experienced in the datascape and informed them that their adventures were still far from over.
Man, Foretellers, Keyblade War, Heartless, Nobodies, Unversed, Realm of Light, Realm of Darkness, and now the Datascape? There's so much to keep track of that it seems like the only thing that's missing is time travel.
It's funny that you mentioned time travel, because time travel actually is possible in the world of Kingdom Hearts, and it's about to become very important to the story. But first, I need to talk about the rules to time travel. In order to initially time travel, a person would have to give up their body and travel only as a heart, although this heart could lend its power to previous versions of itself. They could also only travel to a place where a version of themselves already exists. Once there, it would be impossible to change the events that are destined to happen. Furthermore, once traveled to a specific time, they can only stay there for a temporary period. And lastly, once returning to their own time, their memories would be wiped of anything that they had experienced, although the experiences gained while time traveling would leave a permanent imprint on their heart and could be a motivation in their upcoming actions.
But Ricky, what about the time traveling door that Merlin made?
That's something a little bit different. This was a door that followed the rules of Disney Castle. Merlin also possessed time magic, which is why he was able to make the door. Yen Sid also had time magic, and he was about to use it because he had a concern. A concern that involved the return of Master Xehanort.
But both halves of him are gone. How could he return?
Well, with Ansem Seeker of Darkness gone and Xemnas destroyed, that gave both halves the opportunity to merge with each other once again. This meant that Xehanort proper would return. Anticipating this, Yen Sid decided that it was time for Sora and Riku to undergo the Mark of Mastery.
Oh, so are Sora and Riku going to fight each other like how Terra and Aqua did?
No, Yen Sid actually had another test in mind for them. The two needed to perfect the power of waking, which is gained by unlocking 7 sleeping keyholes. This was crucial as that power is what was needed in order to save those connected to Sora. These sleeping keyholes are located in the dreams of several worlds in what is known as the Realm of Sleep.
Wait, worlds can sleep and have dreams? How do these worlds even fall asleep?
Darkness holds over sleep. Because of this, if a world is lost to darkness, it falls asleep. The worlds that Sora saved back when he sealed the door to darkness were back, but not all of them had awakened. Sora and Riku were tasked to dive into the dreams of these worlds to learn the power they needed. But in order to enter the realm of sleep, one would have to be at a world as it fell into darkness. Without having a surefire way to know when any world is about to be lost, Yen Sid decided to use his magic to send Sora and Riku back in time. Because of his magic, Sora and Riku didn't need to travel as just a heart. Although, Yen Sid's magic was still dictated by the other rules of time travel, so he had to send them back to a world that they had already been to that was right about to fall to darkness. That, of course, being Destiny Islands. But Sora and Riku weren't the only ones that were traveling through time. As Ansem Seeker of Darkness was a Heartless, he was literally just a heart. This meant that he had the power to travel through time, and he went way back into the past to meet his past self before he had ever left Destiny Islands. This past self is known as Young Xehanort. Ansem Seeker of Darkness gave Young Xehanort the power to time travel so that he may collect 10 versions of himself throughout time and bring them to the present. The group would then meet up with Master Xehanort as he was being recompleted. This was because Master Xehanort was rebuilding Organization 13, but this time, they would literally all be Xehanorts.
Hold it! Young Xehanort traveled through time and collected 10 other versions of himself, so including Young Xehanort, that would be 11. Throw in the recompleted Master Xehanort, and that brings them to 12. They're still missing one person though.
Right, and so Master Xehanort planned to put his own heart in Sora.
What? No, why Sora? He's a good boy! Anybody but him, please! No!
He wasn't their first pick. They wanted Riku, but then Riku had a special resistance to darkness, so he wouldn't work. Roxas was also considered, but he became self-aware and found his way back to Sora. So naturally, they just moved down the list until eventually they decided on Sora.
Sora should always be the first pick. He's the special one.
In order to set Sora on his path of receiving Xehanort's heart, Ansem Seeker of Darkness waited on Destiny Islands until it fell to darkness. In fact, right before Sora's first adventure, Sora met Ansem Seeker of Darkness while he was waiting for it to fall. The reason why Ansem Seeker of Darkness was on Destiny Islands was because he needed to be there in order for young Xehanort to time travel there. This was so that young Xehanort could jump into the realm of sleep alongside Sora and ensure that he follows the path of sleeping keyholes that they had laid out for him. Riku noticed Ansem Seeker of Darkness right before diving into the realm of sleep, so he subconsciously turned himself into a Dream Eater and dove into Sora's dreams in order to protect him from any nightmares.
Oh, right! Dream Eaters! Those are the same things as Chirithes, right?
Yup, they are the denizens of the realm of sleep. Heartless aren't able to enter the realm of sleep, so the only creatures there would be Dream Eaters. The only ones that are a cause for concern are the nightmares because the spirits are actually friendly and help Sora and Riku as they travel throughout the worlds to seal the keyholes.
Hey look! Sora got new clothes!
This isn't a good thing though. These clothes were placed on Sora by young Xehanort. This was because these had the recusant sigil on them, which takes the form of a giant X. This sigil was able to track Sora as he made his way through the realm of sleep, so that young Xehanort could ensure that Sora would end up in the world that never was. While Sora and Riku were traveling through the dream worlds, Lee, Ienzo, Evan, Alias, and Dylan had woken up in Hollow Bastion. Although by this point, Hollow Bastion was once again known as Radiant Garden, thanks to the efforts of Leon, his restoration committee, and Tron. Lee had noticed that Aiza, Braig, and Xehanort were missing, so he set off on a personal mission to bring them back. Around this time, Mickey received a letter from Maleficent ordering him to return to Disney Castle because she and Pete had taken Queen Minnie captive. Mickey, Donald, and Goofy rushed to Disney Castle to confront Maleficent and Pete. Here, Maleficent demanded that Mickey hand over the data that he had obtained from going through the datascape.
Why would Maleficent go through all this trouble just to get some data?
This is because she believed that the data they had obtained was somehow tied to the Book of Prophecies.
You mean that book that the Master of Masters wrote that told the future?
Yes, but beyond that, Maleficent believed that the book also held the power to create other worlds, and she wanted to use that power in her quest to take over all worlds. Luckily for Mickey, Lee showed up to save Minnie, and Maleficent and Pete retreated. Mickey, Donald, Goofy, and Lee returned to Yen Sid, but this time Lee had a request. He wanted to learn to wield the Keyblade. Yen Sid accepted this request and sent him to Merlin, who was able to create a plane of existence that would help speed up Lee's ability to wield a Keyblade. Meanwhile, Sora and Riku were able to seal every sleeping keyhole and wound up in the world that never was. Here, Sora was greeted by the new Organization 13. Young Xehanort then put Sora into a sleep, which sent him back into the realm of sleep. But this time, Sora was in his own dream.
So now Sora is in the same place as Riku.
In his own dream, Sora kept diving deeper and deeper into the darkness.
That doesn't make any sense. Why would Sora keep going deeper?
Because in his dream, Sora kept encountering the hurt in the memories that belonged to other people. This pushed him to keep pressing onward, which eventually pushed him into a second sleep.
Oh, so now Sora is in a dream within a dream.
Yes, and Riku was actually able to come across Sora and he attempted to wake him up. But unfortunately, he was stopped by Ansem, Seeker of Darkness, and the two wound up in a fight. Riku emerged victorious, but he was now sent outside of Sora's dreams. This was because Sora was so deep in the darkness by this point that he eventually found himself in yet another sleep. This cycle of sleeping and dreaming caused Sora to enter a sort of coma.
That's 3 dreams. The name of this game should have been Kingdom Hearts Dream, Dream, Dream.
The organization then took the sleeping Sora into the organization's meeting room, which is also known as Where Nothing Gathers. Here, they awaited the recompletion of Master Xehanort. As Riku was outside of Sora's dreams, Yen Sid was able to locate him and told Mickey to run after him. This was because the recompleted Lee caused great concern, since that meant that Master Xehanort's revival was imminent.
Hey, why is Riku still a Dream Eater?
This is because he was a Dream Eater that was attached to Sora's dream. While Sora still slept, Riku would remain a Dream Eater. After realizing that Sora must still be asleep, Riku set out to look for him and found him in the organization's meeting room. There, he was introduced to every Xehanort throughout time. Mickey had showed up to attempt to save both Sora and Riku by casting a Stopsa spell in the middle of Master Xehanort's recompletion. Since Xehanort's body wasn't ready for his mind to return to, he possessed his younger self and fought against Riku in order to buy time until the Stopsa spell wore out. The spell eventually wore out and Master Xehanort was back. He explained that all of this was in place as a final effort to reforge the X-Blade. He was gathering 13 darknesses so that they could clash against the 7 Keyblade wielders that aligned with the light.
Couldn't the 7 Keyblade wielders just decide not to fight Xehanort and prevent him from getting the X-Blade?
No, they couldn't, because if they did that, Xehanort would just target the 7 Princesses of Heart to get his wish. They were forced to play Xehanort's game as it was the only way to have a chance of defeating him.
That's really messed up!
Xehanort attempted to place his heart into the sleeping Sora and complete his organization, but then Lee showed up to save him. The organization then ran out of time and they all had to be sent back to their original times. As they faded away, Xehanort promised that they would return. The team took Sora back to Yen Sid, but he was now trapped in a deep sleep. Riku, who had successfully mastered the power of waking, dove into Sora's dreams once again to wake him. Inside of Sora's dreams, Riku fought against a nightmare that had been keeping Sora asleep, as well as come across a few familiar faces. These encounters woke Sora, but before leaving Sora's dreams, Riku came across a Data version of Ansem the Wise. This Data Ansem told Riku that he had digitized himself as well as his research and placed them in Sora because he felt that the research would best serve a purpose there. Riku took the data and emerged from Sora's dreams. With Sora and Riku back, it was time for Yen Sid to decide whether or not Sora and Riku had passed the Mark of Mastery. Riku passed as he had mastered the power of waking, but Sora failed because this encounter with darkness had made him lose any powers he had received up to this point. After Riku became a Keyblade Master, Lee was finally able to manifest his own Keyblade thanks to his heroic actions.
Man, everyone but me gets a Keyblade. It's not fair!
Speaking of which, Kairi, who had previously obtained a Keyblade herself, still needed to master it. So Yen Sid summoned Kairi in order to train her to be able to properly handle it. To do this, Yen Sid sent Kairi to Merlin so that she could train alongside Lee. And with Riku a Keyblade Master, he was now ready to try to save Aqua from the Realm of Darkness. So after receiving a new change of clothes, he and Mickey set off to save her. Yen Sid then told Sora that he needed to regain his powers, so he told him to take Donald and Goofy with him to the Olympus Coliseum. This was because Hercules had once lost his powers and regained them, so they had hope that he could help Sora regain his own powers.
But how do they get there if the worlds are disconnected?
Sora used the light in his heart to construct a gate. With that, Sora, Donald, and Goofy headed out for the Olympus Coliseum. And that finally brings us to
And then what happens?
That's it.
That's it.
That's it.
How's that it?
That's just it. Kingdom Hearts 3.
There's
Yeah.
still so much that I need to know.
Yep.
Ventus is still asleep.
Yep.
Aqua's still in the realm of darkness.
Sure enough.
Terra, where is he?
No one knows.
Sora's still handsome. That's
Well,
a fact.
Okay.
But, I mean, and there's 13 Xehanors now.
Yep.
They all have, like, yellow eyes, and you didn't tell me why.
What do you mean? That's just the color of his eyes.
Well, I mean, there's still so many questions. What's going to happen?
Well, I can't tell you because we're all
Why?
caught up now.
We're caught up?
We're caught up. Kingdom
No
Hearts
way.
3 comes out in 7 days, 1 week from the day this goes live.
Are we
Woo!
alive?
Yes,
We're alive.
we're live.
You know, because that's Ricky, and I'm Zaire, and we're both halves, and together, we make it an item.
Yep, and I just want to say thank you for watching this. For all of you that went through every single part of this, we went as deep as we can to make sure you understand every little important beat of the Kingdom Hearts story so you can enjoy Kingdom Hearts 3 to the fullest.
To the full length of the fullest.
Yes.
We don't even know about the DLC, if there's going to be DLC.
He said there would be.
Oh!
Yeah.
So, I mean, Ricky's going to cover that DLC.
Maybe if you want me to cover Kingdom Hearts 3 as this was made for the purpose of being caught up to Kingdom Hearts 3, I did not plan to do Kingdom Hearts 3 retold, but if you want it, let me know. I
Let
would
him
totally do it if you guys want it.
We will even make more quirky and fun lines. Just
Yes.
for you guys.
Yes.
And as Ricky said before, thank you. It means a lot to us. And if you know anyone who's a huge fan of the Kingdom Hearts series, let them know to watch this. And I think it's the most perfect thing to watch to be caught up for Kingdom Hearts 3. It's been a great pleasure, Ricky. I give you a good handshake, and I give you a hug. Come here.
Nah,
We did it.
We did it.
Guys, like, comment, subscribe. Take care.